Hi there.
Hi, everyone. I think we're gonna give
Did you get rid of
we're gonna give everyone a few minutes to sign in. So give us a few minutes.
You want to come in my room, you can.
Okay. Hi, everyone. If you just joined us, we're gonna get started in just a couple minutes. I'm gonna give everyone maybe 2 more minutes to sign in. If you have a question and want to type it in the chat now, you're welcome to. And then Vanna and I will start kind of fielding questions in a little bit. So if you'd like to go ahead, that would be great.
Abby, can we all see the chat, or is that something that you can just see?
I think only I can see it.
Okay.
Well, actually, I think if the chat's for everybody, they might be able to.
Hey, guys.
Okay. Should we just get started?
Yeah, let's go with me.
Okay, well,
Let me turn our picture on for a minute.
yeah, if you want to put your cameras on, that would be great.
Can you turn your cameras on?
Oh, gosh.
Kristen wants to say hi.
Oh,
There we go.
Look, it's like messed up.
You don't want to
There
see
you go.
it. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi. Ew, I look really. It's been a long day. Yeah.
I know. Okay, well, hopefully everyone watched the video that Vanna and I put together, or Mrs. Hester and I put together about the extended essay and the time frame and everything. And we just wanted to give everyone an opportunity to ask some questions and just if we can clarify anything, from what's due coming up to what's due long term, like next year. So let us know. We can try just to have people ask questions and raise their hand, or if you want to put the question in the chat, we can do that. So does anyone have questions about the extended essay, about the assignment that's coming up on the 11th, or do you have any questions about the whole entire assignment that's going to be due in December or January next year? And I've got before anyone answers, I've got a question. Can the topic be on any subject? And I would say yes. There are some guidelines. It needs to be connected to the IB classes that you're taking, but yes, you do have a lot of flexibility. And I don't know, Vanna, I mean, it's important to have a topic that's, you can really expand on and write about. So there might be some, I don't know, do you have any advice about topics?
Yeah. Part of that packet kind of helped you guys narrow down your topic, and that's what's going to be due soon to Mrs. Van Hoek, is your actual topic and your research question. So what I suggest doing in that form kind of helps you figure it out. And this is actually a form that Mr. Suber created that we're kind of just adjusting. But I would start with my favorite subject. So again, it doesn't have to be English just because it's an essay, right? If you're really interested in biology, or if you're really interested in film and art and whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be an IB class that we particularly offer. Again, it can be film, right? It can be something that is a class that we might not have. So I would start there, and then I would go down to what do I like about that subject. So for example, like if I were to do it, obviously my favorite subject is English. So I might start with English, and then my favorite thing that I've learned about in English is American literature. So I might go down to American literature. Then I might think about my favorite author, Zora Neale Hurston, right? So then I go down to Zora, and I might have a particular question about Hurston herself, about any of her works, about any of the books I've read. And then I'm going to hone that down even more, specifically about her life, specifically about her books. How do those two things relate? So I would start with your favorite subject, because again, this is a pretty hardy research paper. So you're going to want to be interested in what the topic is. So I know that's really hard, like to kind of pull something from thin air, but really getting something you're interested in and starting with your favorite subject, I think is the best way to go with that. Does that make sense? Do y'all know the paper I'm talking about in the packet that walks you through that? I went through it on the video. And so that's how you're going to get down to it's all the different limiting factors that you're going to take out of it. And limiting factors are just things that are too vague.
I don't have him on.
Yeah. So guys, and hey Ford. So what we do in my class is, remember how I always say, make your thesis more specific, make your thesis more specific, make it more specific. That's all you're doing. You're just taking a really vague question and you're making it really, really specific, because the more specific the question, the more specific your thesis, the better the paper.
Yeah, and if your topic, you know, if your topic might change a little bit as you go too, and that's okay. You know, we need to figure out whether your extended essay fits into, it's more of a history paper, or, you know, kind of what class it connects to, and we'll work with you on that. But, you know, there's time to figure that out through the editing process and everything. So don't worry too much about that, as long as it's linked to a IB-esque class.
Does anyone have any ideas, sorry, Abby, about like what they do want to write on? Has anyone, I mean, is that something we can throw out here? Do y'all have an idea of where you're going to start, or is everyone, or even parents who are on, have you talked to your child about maybe what they're interested in? I'm just curious, is this ball, is it tough to get rolling? Like, how's it going?
Yeah, I'd probably do something with history or even football, maybe, like if that's
Yeah,
if that's
cool.
acceptable.
Yeah, totally. So guys, I think too, a lot of the senior speeches that I think y'all tuned into, they were pretty broad, right? And they were on a lot of different subjects. And a lot of them did, I think, coordinate with their EE. I'm not really sure, or that's certainly an option. So for example, like a really great one, a senior speech that stood out was Wallace's, if you were here to watch it. And that would be a really incredible extended essay for him to do something with music, and for it to revolve around top 40, or I don't know, something to do with research. How does this come about, or a certain pop icon, or how pop culture influences literature, how it influences film, right? Things like that. So it can be, I mean, something is like Jackson, you were saying football, it can be something that you do every day. That's what I really encourage you guys to do, is to really dig into what your interests are.
Any other ideas, juniors? Have you thought about it? You have until Monday, remember.
It's pretty soon. It's coming up, guys.
This is Alex, Kenneth Des. A question about the research paper. So do we need to come up a hypothesis type thing, or a to prove something new, or simply just review what has been on the literature? Do we need to come up some new, you know, idea, like just simply review what have been, you know, people saying?
Yeah, so basically, I guess a good way to explain this paper is it really is an argumentative essay, is basically what you're doing. So you don't necessarily have to come up with something new or original, but you are probably going to pick a side of what you're arguing. So it just depends on the topic and what you're going to argue. But a hypothesis is a good way of putting it, I guess, in more scientific terms. You are going to have a thesis, a statement that you're proving throughout the paper with your research. So yeah, I mean, you can certainly look at it that way, I think. Does that answer your question?
Well, probably I'm more on the scientific point of view, so I don't know about English too much on that, sorry. So that's why I want to make sure I can, you know, maybe help Kenneth in some way. Or maybe I worry about I maybe point him to a wrong direction. So that's why I want to be more.
Yeah, I think looking at it, I mean, if you're looking at it through a lens, I mean, I think hypothesis, they are statements, right, that you're trying to prove, if what I remember from science is correct. So yeah, I mean, if Kenneth has a statement that he's going to prove through research and through this entire paper that he's arguing is true, yeah, certainly you can look at it that way, I think, to help better understand. And the beauty of this is you'll be helping him at home, but we'll also be helping him at school. So it's not going to be like he's written these 4,000 words that are in the totally wrong direction, and then he's going to have to go back and fix it. We'll be with him along the process. So we'll be able to kind of guide and explain, hey, no, this is veering off kind of what you need to be doing, or you're doing the right thing. So I would say at home, do what you can right now to help and do the best. And then when he comes in the summer for our meeting, when we walk through the outline, if it needs some tweaking, that's stuff that we can work with, and certainly his advisor can work with too later in the process.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, any other thoughts on topics or anything else?
Has anyone viewed the IB website with all of the different examples? I think that's a really good resource to go in. And I think too, Mr. Child, that might answer your question, to kind of see scientific papers and where they kind of went with their arguments. So I really suggest looking at that. And again, it's part of the resources. It's in the packet. We also visited it in the video we showed you. So going there and looking at different ones, I think will really kind of help y'all wrap your brain around what's going on. Has anyone looked at it, or is it too early in the process to do that? I'm just thankful you guys are here. You're already ahead of the game. You're here for the Q&A. I'm not going to grill you about anything else.
All right, so Ms. Scarborough, Mrs. Tester.
Yeah, what's up, Ford?
All right, so we have to like argue aside when we're doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to walk you guys through. We're going to focus a lot more on the argumentative essay your senior year. So you'll be helped out a lot with that. But what's going to get y'all the link, so a lot of y'all who are in my English class are like, okay, because y'all are kind of a good step into the game, because remember, the first essay you did your junior year was that like 2,500 research paper, right? So y'all have written a huge research paper for my class. But I think what really gets you the length is, in my class, you kind of just argue your point and you didn't really go into your counter arguments. But that's something certainly that you can dive into, and it really gives you the length where you're kind of saying, some people suggest that this is true, but here I am disproving it with more research. So that's a way that you really kind of can get more length with your argumentative essays going into the counter arguments. Does that make sense, Ford? And I'll help you with that. We're going to talk about it in class.
All right. Yeah, I get that. I just didn't know it was like a argumentative.
Yeah, and every paper we write, really, I don't really put a lot of labels on what we're doing. Like, okay, it's a persuasive essay. Okay, it's an argumentative essay, because true writing is always persuasive, in my opinion. I mean, that's what you're always doing. You're putting your truth out there, right? So you've been writing argumentative essays since you met me, and probably before that. So, yeah, just have faith in that you've got the skill set to tackle. I hate to kind of box it into one thing, but if that helps, you're arguing a point. You're proving it with research. Yes.
Wait, Ms. Tester.
Yeah, what's up, Blake?
What's the 2020 summer conferencing sign-up thingy?
Yeah, okay, so you guys are going to turn in your topic, your question. It's going to be approved by Madam Bay, and then you're going to want to sign up for a conference time with me. So I won't be working with all of y'all throughout the whole year. So I only will have a certain amount of students that I work with. Every single faculty member is going to have, well, not every single one, but most people will have a student that they're working with. So the first conference, though, is with me. And that's the point, is that you're kind of starting on the right foot with someone you're comfortable working with when it comes to your writing. I'll make sure you're lined up for success. So you'll need to sign up for a time. That'll be before we start school. I'll go through your outline with you. That's going to be your assignment over the summer. I'll go through your outline with you. Be sure you're on the right track, so that way I can kind of set you loose to your advisor that's going to know more about your content. Because if you're choosing to write something about sports, or if you're choosing to write something about science, I might not be the best person for that, right? So I'm going to set you off, be sure your formula is good when it comes to English. I'm going to meet with you again at the end to make sure your formatting is good when it comes to APA. And then everything in between, you'll be working with a faculty member. So
All right, cool.
that meeting in the summer, it can be, we'll just have to see where we're at. I'm hoping we'll be able to meet face to face. I'd love to be able to sit at school and y'all just pop in and see you and interact. If you're traveling, if you're out of town, now we kind of have no excuse because we know how to use Zoom and we know how to get on. So we can do it virtually, certainly. But you'll want to sign up for a time. It's required. It'll be a grade. And
Okay.
that sets you up too for success, because the very first week of school, before we dive into anything, we're going to use the first week of my class time to just write the essay. You're going to have a full 6 or 7 days in class where we just eat snacks, we listen to music, and we write, and we get the first draft done. So you're not stressed the rest of your senior year.
Cool. All right, thanks.
But for me to do that, for me to give you that class time, I think that that's valuable, right? You have to come and prove to me in the summer that you've worked and that you've put in the legwork beforehand.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Did that make sense to everyone else? That might have been a question too. So that's a spreadsheet y'all can sign up on. And again, I'll just be chilling at the school and y'all can just pop by and I'll go through it's like 20-minute conferences, I think, where I'll just go through and make sure you're on the good track for our first day of school.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, we can't meet with students. We kind of have a certain number of meetings we can actually have with students. So it would be wrong for us to meet with you, daily or weekly. So we do kind of have to follow that IB sequence. But this will kind of fit into one of those required meetings. And students, actually, you're going to need to fill out a form where you reflect on these meetings, just like you reflect on your CAS volunteer time on Manage Back and things like that. So that whole reflection piece about what you did, what you talked about, how you're going to maybe handle some of the challenges, et cetera, moving forward. Those are all really important pieces that will stay with, that are linked to extended essay, just like in other areas of IB. And so ultimately getting a jump start on this assignment will be helpful as we go into the semester, because as you start applying for, to colleges and all the other IB assessments, I think from seeing the seniors this year, it's just really important to get things done gradually so you're not left to deal with it at the very last minute. And you will do a better job if you follow the sequence, I think, just because the seniors who left it to the last minute this year, it did affect their grades ultimately at the end, because they were rushed and stressed, and it kind of puts a lot of pressure on everybody. So hopefully this will just help you long term.
Yeah, and one thing I do kind of want to make clear, which I think is the confusion, this is a TOK assignment. So this isn't an English assignment, because guys, we have to tackle our own essay in English, which we're actually starting tomorrow, the higher level essay. So I'm kind of stepping in and working with Mrs. Van Hoek, because we really want to make this cross-curricular. We don't want it to just be isolated to TOK, but know that she really is your spokesperson on this. I'm helping with the logistics of the essay building, but it's for the TOK class. You'll have time in her class as well to work on this. So in case you're just confused about who what is this for, what's going on, the extended essays through theory of knowledge, and that's your piece for theory of knowledge. And again, we're starting our higher level essay tomorrow. That's not due till the end of your senior year, but you'll finish it before your junior year. So all you have to do is make edits and submit it. So we're really working hard to kind of there's not going to be, I'm not going to say there's not going to be any stress, but the stress level will be way down because we've paced this so far out for you guys.
Yeah, so for the senior TOK class, we have no new content. We've been able to get through everything this year, even using Zoom, which is great. But you do have 3 assessments for TOK senior year. One is the extended essay, one is the TOK presentation, and then there's the TOK essay, which you will start in January, which is not a long essay, but it's something that you'll be working on in January, February, and a little bit into March. So pretty much the whole fall semester up until I would say Thanksgiving is devoted to the extended essay. So you'll have a whole period to write, 1 day a week on your extended essay. We can conference, we can, do peer editing, lots of different exercises, and Mrs. Tester is going to help me, with that a little bit. So you'll have time up until I would say Thanksgiving in TOK class, and then we'll move into the TOK presentation. So your time will be split a little bit in between. It'll just kind of depend on how fast you're working on those things, but the extended essay will be done, before exams pretty much, and then there will just be some editing in January. So that's just to give you a time frame. So it doesn't all have to be done over the summer. There is some class time for sure. And those, all those progress grades will get put into your TOK grade for the senior year.
Yeah, and Blake, do you have a question? Are you trying to ask?
Yeah, I
something?
do.
Okay, yeah.
I have one question. So say we did like our extended essay on like a topic in, say, biology. Could we do our internal assessment on that same topic, or would we have to choose a different topic for that?
Wait, what do you mean internal assess? Do you know what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like the
okay.
IA. Isn't that like the IA paper?
Yeah, Blake, you might be able to make a connection, but I'm not sure. So there might be a
So
link.
I'd have to pick
but-
like a whole different. I have to like pick like a whole different topic.
Yeah, because one's research based and one's a little bit more of an experiment, right?
Okay.
I understand the IA, but also I'm worried about the time frame too, because you do the IA second semester, I believe.
Is that the IA? There's an IA for TOK too?
No, there's an IA for biology.
Oh, okay. Because I was
Yeah.
like, wow, y'all have got a lot
No.
of IAs
I'm-
going on.
I can double check with Miss Harnage, but I don't think you start that the IA for biology and physics until the spring, and you should be done your your extended essay at that point. Now you might be able to there might be some connection, Blake. I don't think there might be,
All right.
but you can't write your extended essay on what you're doing for your biology IA. You might be able to do your biology IA somewhat linked to the TOK, the extended essay. So.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
And
So.
yeah, guys, the point of this too is, and again, we kind of touched on this. It's work. It's a lot of work. Research papers take time, but in college, no matter what your major is, that's all you're going to be doing is research and writing and research and writing. Especially even in those 101 classes that are really general, you're still doing it. So. The whole point of this is that you've already tackled one, your junior and senior year, a big one, and hopefully you're tackling smaller ones, right? Like your IAs and your HLs and all these different assessments. So by the time you get to college, it's like easy breezy. You know exactly what to do. You know how to format it. You know how to pace yourself. That's part of the reason why we're giving you this outline too, is so you have a skill set on where to start when a professor just kind of blasts it out to you and just gives you a due date. So that's truly the value in this. And I do want y'all to see that there's a significant point to this. And this is coming from, most of us here are college educated, and we can attest to the fact that this is going to happen for you. It's a sad realization, but it is what it is, right? So know that you're really building a skill set that you're going to be using. I think for life, like you'll always be writing and researching. So, and know too that in my class, I've been preparing you for this. I know what the EE is. This has been kind of what we've been training for, so to speak. Even those reflections that I make y'all do, I make y'all conference with me right after an essay and sit down, and then we reflect on it. These are things, this is a process that y'all are super familiar with. It's just over a longer period of time. So it's not meant to cause any sort of internal panic or anything like that. You guys are used to it. I promise it's going to be good. I can just see in some of your eyes, just like blank stares, but it's fine. It's going to be good. Any other questions about what we talked about in the video?
Well, and we certainly don't want to keep people here if no one has questions. I'm available, obviously, anytime by email to kind of handle some questions, and I will see the juniors in TOK class on Monday. Your assignment is due Monday, but we can certainly, you need to get that form in, but we can talk once it's in and troubleshoot a little bit. But Mrs. Tester and I are both available to handle any questions. So let us know if you think of something later. I'm going to send this video out to your classmates who are not here tonight. So again, and if they have a question, I can always kind of send it out to the entire group if it would be helpful. So we just want to support you, especially in this time of quarantine. You might feel like a little bit like what's out there, what's going on with IB and everything, but we're continuing as normal and we're going to proceed, you know, just with our normal schedule. So when we do go back, we're ready and we're not behind. So just let us know what we can do to support you, and we'll figure this out, you know, virtually or in person, etc.
Yeah, and I think too, just a suggestion, steps moving forward from this meeting, especially those of y'all who are here, I really think just carving out, I mean, obviously y'all are committed to sitting down with your child, sit down. I think it's helpful to sit down, carve out just an hour to really explore what are our interests, go through that sheet in the packet and bring it down to one question so that you're already ahead of the game and that you're good for Monday. That's kind of what the next step I would do. Then I would sign up for a conference time because those will be assigned out if you guys don't assign. And then just focus on working on the outline, which I'll go over with you guys again before our last day of English class. And I'm sure Ms. Van Hoek will do it too in her TOK. So that's kind of the steps moving forward, how to be successful in this process. We have another question, I think, Abby.
No. Is it good? Okay. Is it a good idea to link this topic to what their college interests might be? I would say absolutely. I think if you've got a passion and you might continue that in college, that would be great. But I don't think it's essential. But it certainly wouldn't hurt. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts, Vanna?
Yeah, and I think too, well, oftentimes your strongest subject is the one you're most interested in. But again, I caution you guys, don't just pick something English oriented because you think it's an English paper. We're trying to get you away from that mindset. Pick something you're interested in. Yeah, I think definitely college interest, whether it be, is that Donna with Lily? I mean, Lily, when it comes to creative writing, when it comes to art, right? Anything that she's really interested in, researching one particular person. I don't know. I think that that's huge. And I think that it makes them more interested in something that they can pull from later on too, maybe. Definitely.
Yeah, you're going to be spending a lot of time working on this. So you definitely, you want to be interested in this and not just like an assignment you have to do. I really hope that you want to work on this. I mean, not every day, but overall you're excited about the research and about the end product. So I don't want this to be pulling teeth. And if that's what it's about, we need to kind of make a change because it's going to be hard if you don't want to write about this. So, it's not my advice from this year.
For sure.
So
And no, guys, too, like what Ms. Van Hoek was saying is this is more, it's on your own. Like we feel like we've kind of trained you guys right up to this endurance test, right? And we are there, I think, up to 3 meetings we can have. But this isn't something you can, be talking to me after school every day, before school, emailing me. Like this is not the situation. And even your advisors, it's limited the access that we have to you guys throughout this process. So know when you do come with questions, once we're in the thick of it, yeah, we can answer them to an extent, but I'm not going to be reading through your essay being like, this is an A, this is an A paragraph, A sentence, right? Like, y'all, this is on your own, truly.
We've got another question. Are more thought-provoking, original, or challenging topics given more weight in review? So the extended essay is graded externally by a group of IB graders, and we have no control over who sees these. I think there are always, you can quickly Google this. I think there's always a lot of psychology and history and English papers for extended essay. I've read that if you do something a little off the beaten path, sometimes those stand out. But it really depends on the cohort, the year, the evaluator, etc. So I think some of the resources that we put together, it might be good to look through the different topics and some of the evaluators' comments. That might be really helpful to kind of understand that. But I wouldn't pick a topic that's too challenging if you're not interested in it, because I still think that interest needs to be there. So again, you want it to be really good, but I don't, you want that personal connection to be there as well. So that's my advice. But I would check out the IB website to see what some of the other evaluators have said.
Does everyone know what link we're talking about? Is anyone confused about where to go for the example papers?
I can repost it when I send this out. I know you may not want to see this link again, but I'll send it out to all the junior parents. And I'll just I can put it there.
Yeah, that'd be good. It's in the PDF. So Ms. Van Hoek, she sent out the link for the original video, and then there was an attached PDF. It's the last page of the PDF. It says, I think like health supplemental links or something, and they're listed there. So the link, there's one just to the regular IB website breaking down the EE, and then there's another one that takes you specifically to the examples, and you can click on different subject areas, and then you click on those different subject areas, and it shows you anywhere from scores really, really low to really high and all of the comments. You have to download the PDF of each extended essay, but that's where that is, okay? So again, that's part of what I would start with, is just combing through, seeing how these questions are worded. And again, in that packet is the breakdown sheet of how to come up with your topic. And it's got good examples of, I think there's one for film and there's one for English in there of that Mr. Suber created, what are considered really strong research questions.
Yeah. Okay, so tonight I will send out the recording, and I'll send out maybe all the links, or at least that specific link for you. Last year we had a lot of students who just Googled extended essay and kind of sometimes found a student's perspective on writing it. I mean, there's a lot of great information out there, and so we put together some links. But feel free to look and see what other IB students have said, or some other data just kind of about the extended essay, if you would find it helpful. We also have a couple books at school, which we'll share with you in the fall, hopefully just about writing the extended essay. A couple of other questions. Let's see. Yeah, so as far as approving topics, students have a form that is due on Monday, May 11th, and that's where students should list the topic they want to write about, and also there's an advisor preference form. Those are both due to me on the TOK Google Classroom site Monday, and then I'll be approving topics and working on the advisor process. I might not have that done right away, but I will send everyone an email saying, your topic has been approved. So that should happen before exams. And then the advisors I think we're going to assign advisors probably in the fall when we go back to school. We really need to make sure that every teacher has a couple students, but unfortunately, there's just a lot to look at. So we'll do that in August. And let's see, there's some questions about grading. So the extended essay is part of the core of IB, and so there's 3 points available for TOK and the extended essay. And there was a chart, I think, in our presentation that went over the grade, but students are given a letter grade, and then that letter grade kind of translates to points. So students need a certain score to get the IB diploma, and the extra 3 TOK and extended essay points would just bump them up a little bit higher if they either got a lower grade on one of their subject exams, or if they just wanted some extra points. So that's how that works. And again, I think all that information's in our video or the documents, but if you still have questions about that, let me know. I think you can get a C and still get 1 point extra for the extended essay. So that's, good to know. And so that's how that works for the IB diploma. If you don't do well, you just don't get the point. You don't lose points or anything. These are just kind of extra points for the IB diploma.
Yeah, and guys, because this is something that you really are kind of led through in a lot of ways, hopefully, again, this is our first time really organizing it in this way, but there'll be no excuse not to get at least, the 1 point, and that really is helpful if you're worried about your points in some of your other grades. Like for me, I would be terrified of math and my score in math, so I would work really, really hard on my EE to be sure I could get the booster point, because even though it seems like it's not a lot, I mean, the points are weighed. I mean, it's weighted. It can boost you. It can mean passing. I mean, people, right, they can get the diploma or not over a point. So I think that it's just good to kind of have it under your belt and make sure that it's something you're really working towards.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I think we're going to stop for this evening, but I will send out the links and the recording. And please, if you have any questions, now or in the coming weeks or months, don't hesitate to let either one of us know, parents or students. But hopefully when we're back in August, we'll be able to see each other a little bit more and this won't be necessary. But in the meantime, just let us know what we can do to support you, clarify anything, etc. And we'll do our best. I just want to thank everyone for coming. It's nice to see everyone, and I just hope this streamlines everything. And yeah, it's great to have everyone here. So at that,
Thank you guys.
say good night.
Bye guys. See ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Later.